Hi guys, my name is Ravin. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the game Spec Ops: The Line. Spec Ops: The Line is a third-person military shooter by 2K Games, published in 2012 and still a masterpiece 7 years later. Now, before I started playing this game about a week ago, the only thing I knew about it was a bit of the infamous white phosphorus scene. I had no idea how profound this game really was. Starting off with the basics of the story, you play as Captain Martin Walker of Delta Team, accompanied by First Lieutenant Adams and Staff Sergeant Lugo. At the very beginning, we are introduced to Colonel John Conrad, and it becomes clear that Walker views him as a hero.
Is John Conrad the greatest man I ever served with? Well, I don't know. There was this one time in Kabul when he dragged my bleeding carcass half a mile to an evac chopper. So maybe I'm biased.
Walker and his team are deployed on a mission to a broken Dubai to find out what happened to Conrad and his team of the 33rd Battalion, who were sent to Dubai in order to evacuate citizens due to a terrible sandstorm. Walker's mission is simple: see if there are survivors and then call for backup. As soon as they arrive, they find dead American soldiers, and Walker decides to go against his orders to return home, and instead is determined to find out exactly what happens in Dubai. From here on out, things are a confusing mess. The CIA and the 33rd are at war against each other for resources in the land. The insurgents, who you later find out are ran by the CIA, think that you're part of the 33rd, while the 33rd originally thinks that you are part of the CIA. Dubai was already at war against each other, but as soon as you arrive, things get even messier, and Walker's team kills men on both sides as a result of this. Now, Delta constantly thinks that they're the good guys, and this is one of the main themes of the story, which we will return to. How does gameplay in Spec Ops: The Line hold up? The game runs as a pretty generic third-person shooter. You pick up guns, hide behind cover, throw grenades, etc. Some people could say that the gameplay is pretty generic. However, I believe that this is the exact point. The repetitive killing of hundreds of enemies helps drive the point of how Walker became desensitized to death. Walker was exhausted by the end of the game, and weren't you exhausted by the end of it too? The game wants you to feel what Walker is. Personally, I think that because the game was relatively short and it only took me about 6.5 hours to finish, give or take, I never got bored or frustrated with the gameplay at all. The controls were a little wonky at parts, especially the cover system, I will point out, and it took me an hour or two to get used to, but overall I don't really have many complaints about the gameplay. But maybe I'm just not one to complain about trivial things. Going back to how Spec Ops: The Line is such a dynamic game, the game evolves as you make your way through the story. The beginning of the game is just like every other shooter. The characters are cliché. The setting is dull. However, as time goes on, the characters become more and more beaten down by the effects of war, and this is one of the reasons I love this game so much. Let's look at Lugo as an example, who was definitely one of my favorite characters. He started off by cracking jokes almost every sentence, and playing along like a good soldier.
Ever actually hear the shit coming out of your mouth?
No, I do not, sir. I find it messes with my rhythm.
This is Colonel John.
However, every wrong action makes him question everything, and he slowly breaks down to be an exhausted, war-torn young man who lost his spark. I don't think this game was anti-war. Rather, I think it shows how war affects people, how it changes them, how bleak and unforgiving life can truly be. That is how I played through the story, but another idea is that this game is a critique on the popular military shooter genre, and I completely see where that idea comes from. Instead of allowing you to just shoot through as many people as you want with no consequences, such as in games like the Call of Duty franchise, it makes you question why. What are the consequences behind these actions? The main difference between Spec Ops: The Line and other military shooters is that it does not make you to be the good guy.
No, you did. Your orders killed 47 innocent people. Someone has to pay for your crimes, Walker.
So, who is the good guy of this story? is it Walker, the person who went into Dubai looking to save everyone and consistently excused all of his actions by saying that he had no choice? Is it Conrad, the man who claims that he is protecting all of the people of Dubai no matter the cost? The answer is, there is no good guy. You are not the hero in this game. There are no rights and wrongs. There is only war and death, and having to go through the game watching your character suffer through the mental trauma that his actions slowly cause him. You spend the game as Walker, thinking that you're the hero, the savior, stopping this great warlord of Dubai. But in the end, you're simply just turning into him. Walker had every chance to pull out and report in, but he pressed on because he wanted to be the hero. And isn't that what we want to be in video games? We want to play the part of the hero. Spec Ops: The Line shows you that that is not the case. At the very end of the game, Conrad summarizes it up for you in just one question.
Do you feel like a hero yet?
In conclusion, Spec Ops: The Line was an incredible experience for me and such a unique game even 7 years later after its release. I've seen reviews on Steam of people saying that they don't like this game. This is not the kind of game that wants you to like it. This is the kind of game that reaches under the core of an everyday shooter. Personally, I could not recommend this game more. Looking at the rating system that I composed at the very start of my channel, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would honestly rate Spec Ops a 9 out of 10. Now, I'm hesitant to give it a 10 out of 10 just because of the small problems it had, such as with gameplay and the beginning of the story, but I think in the end it all came together as a remarkable game that I know that I at least will remember. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because I come out with new videos every single week and I'm definitely planning on doing more game reviews. Thank you guys so much again, and I will see you in my next video.
Colonel John Conrad, United States Army. Evacuation of Dubai ended in complete failure. Death toll